So you would have seen the meetings being gone to live stream now on YouTube.
Quick message.
Good night.
Good night, Alan.
Night, Alison.
Addie's to bed. Say no, no.
Good night.
It's a good meeting.
Have a good meeting.
Hey, what about this one? You can say goodnight to her?
Hi, Karen.
You lie down and be good.
Pretty long ears on that one, Brian.
Yeah. It's the only person that does what she's told. I mean, Glenda's probably heard that.
Yeah, we're not going to start until around 7. I've got 5 minutes to just run inside quickly, don't I?
Yep, you got 7 minutes.
Glenda's probably heard that.
Sam, if I just click stop video,
Yeah, we're
that
not going to start
takes my
until
face
around
off
7.
of
I've got
everything,
5
does
minutes
it?
to just run inside quickly, don't I?
Yep, you got 7 minutes.
There.
Glenda's probably heard that.
It's repeating itself, is it?
Sam, if I just click stop video,
Yeah, we're
that
not going to start
takes my
until
face
around
off
7.
of
I've got 5
everything,
minutes
does
to just run inside quickly, don't I?
Yep, you got 7 minutes.
There.
Glenda's probably heard that.
It's repeating itself, is it?
Sam, if I just click stop video,
Yeah, we're not
that
going to start
takes
until
my
around
face
7.
off
I've
of
got 5
everything,
minutes to just run inside quickly, don't I?
What's happening?
I don't know, but something's wrong.
Looping.
It's looping, yeah.
Sounds better now.
Yeah.
I was on the phone to Anne. That's what did it. Sorry.
Oh, was it?
It shouldn't have been. Anyway.
No. Yeah, I've just got him in. Yep. Yep, got everybody in. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's just gone 7 o'clock. Can everybody hear me? Yep, that's fine. It looks like most of us are here, but 2 councillors. Do you want to wait a little bit longer or should we start? What are people's consensus? What's that for?
I'd like to start.
Okay, yep, it's 7 o'clock and we'll start. So I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight to the IES committee meeting. When the meeting was decided to have this date, I think we overlooked it was Valentine's Day. So I think a few people might be out on Valentine's Day today. So apologies to all partners for having people here tonight instead of out at the movies, etc. I'll start with the statement of acknowledgement. Oh, okay, got some more. Wait a minute. I'm just admitting someone else to come in now. Yep. That's Zach. Okay. Fine. Okay. Right. I'll continue on. Statement of acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge this land we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. Thank you. Now I'll do a roll call. Have we got any apologies? At the moment we've got everybody except Councillor Little and Councillor Valonga. Has there been any apologies? Nothing? Okay, maybe I'll just unmute everybody.
No apologies at all.
Okay, right. We'll just we give them a bit more time. They might be coming. We'll just leave it at that minute, and later down the track we'll decide whether they're not here. Any motions to grant leave of absence? No. There's no leave of absence. No non-attendance. We'll decide that later on. Unfortunately, we won't be having an open forum tonight. If it was a face-to-face meeting, we would, but because it's a Zoom, we won't tonight. So apologies for that. Now, any declarations of interest from tonight's agenda? Any declarations of interest? No, can't see anything. Confirmation of minutes. We'll go to that. So that's
Chair.
Infrastructure and Environment Services Committee meeting,
Chair,
14th of December 2021. Oh, yep.
hello.
Yes.
I've got a perceived conflict on
Okay.
item 8.1.
8.1.
Yeah, 8.1, but I'll be staying in the room.
Okay, that's to do with Garrock and
Yeah, that's not on the agenda, but it's 8.1. Yeah.
yes. Yes, it's okay. Yep. So you'll be declaring a perceived conflict, and then now how do we do the paper? We need to just work out the paperwork on that. So we'll work that out. Okay. Any other declarations of interest? No. Confirmation of minutes. Confirmation of minutes. The 14th of December 2021. Would someone like to move that they're true and correct after reading them? Who we got there? We got David. I just need to move my screen a little bit. Okay, so who was moving that? Okay, I'm just going to bloody do this. So let's get this. Who wants to move that they're correct? Oh, sorry, David and, you were waving, David, and Di. Okay. David, do you want to speak to this or anything? Okay. Di, you don't want to speak to this? Okay. All those in favour that the minutes are true and correct? Just all those against? Okay, let's do that. Let's do the reactions. Okay. Yep, that's unanimous. Thank you. Now, any business arising from those minutes? Any questions? Wait a minute, I just need to clear all. Yep. Nathan, you got something? Yep.
Yeah, just on item, it's the playground in Aspire Estate. It says here that we're moving forward with the design process, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just wondering, date on boots on ground, all going well. I know it's hard, but just a range would be fantastic for me to pass on.
Yep. Sam, have you got any update there? Is that the best person to ask?
Yes, it is, Councillor Kosh.
Yep.
We've actually up to procurement at the moment, in the process of reviewing submissions. There's a further body of consultation that needs to occur based on the outcomes of that procurement with that Port resident group. We have lost a resource, our landscape coordinator, as members may be aware, more recently, so it's just set us back a bit. I'd like to think we'd still complete this project this financial year.
Yep.
So just clarifying, if I say to the residents that are asking me, we can expect it June at the latest, you would be happy for me to be able to say that?
Yes, depending on, obviously, we've got $40,000 in the budget. We'll go and consult with that group, with a broader group of, the broader Aspire community with respect to the improvements being proposed. And if everything were to go to plan, we'd obviously seek to install that before the end of the financial year.
Yep, no worries. Don't worry, I won't throw you under the bus. I'll give them a range.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Nathan. Any other questions? Any business arising from the minutes? Okay. There was one, I think there was one question in the minutes about the toilets. Sam, do you want to?
Councillor Kosh, sorry, just a question. I provided an update following the last meeting in regards to the vandalism that occurred to one of the toilets. We can have that rectified in terms of the actual, whether that's occurred or not. I haven't had a chance to follow up with staff, but I know that they were in communications with the toilet supply in terms of how we can make that a bit more resilient.
Yeah, I think it was a question from Councillor Little, but yeah, so that's the response. Yep. Okay, thank you. So no other businesses arising from the minutes. People happy to move on now? Yep. Okay, decision motions 7.1, normal proposal to increase the recycling of food organics and organic garden organic waste from Gawler. Now, I've taken it that everyone's read this. We were going to have a presentation from Rachel and John and Penelope, but I think they've been caught up with Valentine's Day, so they're not going, although I know they're happy to come along to the council meeting. But I think I might pass this over to Jack. Jack, do you want to provide some background information on this before we move to vote, etc.?
Thanks, Councillor Kosh. The report basically discusses opportunities to increase our food organic, green organics program within Gawler. We're currently sitting at about 69% participation rate within the town on the FOGO bins. So we're looking at increasing that to 80%. Currently for the 2020-21 year, we took approximately 2,600 tonnes through the green bins for recycling rather than going to landfill. What we're looking at with Norma is increasing that to 80% over the next 3 years. So by doing that, we're sort of anticipating a saving of around $77,000 over that sort of 10-year period. It's quite good. The annual savings would vary probably from about $4,000 to about $9,000 at this stage. And what that will sort of come from over that period of time is, adding about another 1,400 bins into the scheme of things, and also increasing the education. So letting our residents know exactly what these bins are for, what can they be used for, what can go in them. It's not just your green waste, your lawn clippings and trees, but food waste as well. So it's a fairly exciting opportunity. There are some significant gains to be had from this, and hopefully we can sort of discuss this a bit further through the next few minutes.
Yes. So, is there any questions for Jack or any comments?
Yes, if I may,
Sam?
Mr. Chairman. Jack, is there any plan at all on upgrading the bins in our town? On weekends, we always go for a couple of hour drive around to see other towns as they are, and certainly around a lot of the towns in the Barossa, the bins have been changed to a brighter colour and all that. Is there any changes planned to be made? And a lot of the bins are in pretty poor condition. I believe that the owners of those bins must report them to Norma. Is that still the fact? Or did Norma do an inspection maybe?
Through the chair, it's a reporting process, Councillor Sandel. So if your bin's sort of damaged or looking pretty bad, Norma will replace your red, green or yellow bin. The only thing I believe with the green bin, there's a charge for that replacement. So that's about the only thing. I have seen the other councils sort of out of our area that have slightly different coloured bins now, but for our sort of subsidiary and our sort of 3 partner councils, we're all using the same coloured bins, but you can upgrade them. Norma will replace damaged bins and bring you a new bin straight and be delivered straight to your house.
Yep. Okay. Nathan, you were next. You've got it. Thank you, Brian. Thanks. Yep. Nathan.
Thank you, Chair. Jack, am I right to say that Light Council are offering the bin the green bin as a standard operating procedure, along with the compost caddy as well? And I think there's Port Adelaide Enfield also do something similar. Am I right in making those comments, or Through
the chair, I'm not sure about Light, but I do know about Port Adelaide Enfield, who are part of the Eastern Waste. There's a new sort of subsidiary that's just been set up there as well. This is what our proposal is, looking at the kitchen caddies as well to support the food organics, green organics. So that'll be part of the whole rollout and introduction. So
it almost brings us online with the good work that Port Adelaide Enfield are doing in this space as well.
Absolutely. And Salisbury's leading at this stage, because Salisbury is actually offering the caddies now. Yep. So if we proceed down this road, we'll be sort of Playford and Gawler will be going that route as well. So,
no worries. Thank you.
Mayor Redman, you had a question?
Oh, I'd like to move the motion.
Okay, I'm just going to get. Well, I just want to make sure I get all the questions first before we move the motion. David, have you got a?
I was happy to second or move the motion, but we do have the caddies available for residents if they contact Norma, and they've picked up from the council offices the little green organic sort of for use in your kitchen. That's been available for a number of years, and I'm actually on my second one. My first one wore out, so they are quite good, those little kitchen bins.
Okay, no other questions? Okay, Mayor Redman, you're happy to move. Do you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a good way forward. I think a lot of Gawler residents already have a little bin. We've certainly got one, like David, and it's always full. So I think it's a really good initiative to get food out of the red bin, and it'll save us money in the long run. So I think this is a sensible way forward. So happy to move it.
Thank you. And David, do you want to speak to this?
I'm very happy to support this. I think anything that reduces waste that goes to landfill is really important. I actually, using my little caddy bin, I bury the scraps in my garden. So I've got potatoes, pumpkins, I've got all sorts of things coming up in my garden from the little green bin. It's amazing how it improves the soil, but you also get all these plants that come up, and so we free range for potatoes and pumpkins. We got lots of pumpkins coming up at the moment. So using the little green waste kitchen bin and just planting that in your garden is just fantastic for your garden, because you're putting green organics into the garden, but you also get benefits from all the little seedlings that come up. So I think this is really important. It's the way of the future. As we all know, it's getting really more expensive. And if we can encourage people to make sure that they do use compost and everything else in their own gardens, as well as what goes off for recycling and reuse is really important. So this is a good motion, and yeah, I fully support it.
Okay, Nathan, you've got a comment?
Yeah, look, I'm in support of this. I know we did have the option as ratepayers to reach out ourselves, and I too, like the previous two speakers, have a little caddy and have our green bin. I have my own compost that I have my worm farm going. It keeps all my organics running over. But the thing that actually attracts me to this the most is by mainstreaming it, and I think Jack touched on that before. And also the work that other councils are doing around the place. This is a standard operating procedure. This is the same as a recycling bin coming to your house when you pay your rates. The same as a red bin, a green bin is just an extension of that. And it does offer that education in the ease of doing it. The worrying thing about local government and how it all comes together is people actually don't know that they can ring Norma. No, I'm not saying a majority of people don't know, but there are people out there that don't understand that it's as easy as ringing Norma, paying $57 one time, and you don't have to worry about any of your green waste going to landfill. They also don't understand food scraps and the difference in all that. So I think this brings it up on par with what other councils are doing, and also gives that opportunity to educate along the way very easily. So that's why I'm sort of attracted to this, and it does align with some of the climate emergency action plan stuff that we're doing, and yeah, all for bringing us on par with neighbouring councils and really trying to minimise that footprint.
Yeah, excellent. Any other comments? Okay. No, I've got a couple of comments. Norma actually did a trial, I think it was up at Hillcrest, where they looked at rolling out the green bins to residents up there, just to see where they're taking the price point away. So it's a free bin, people would adopt it, and overall people did. Rolled in with that, there was some education about what to put in there, et cetera, and it was relatively successful. So the whole push behind this is by removing the price point, as we've said, you know, the purchase price point, people will hopefully take up the bins, you know, up to the 80% that Jack was talking about. So yes, it does bring us in line with all the other councils, and it's important that we get the green waste out of the red bin. Otherwise, if it goes to landfill, you end up with methane production, etc., which is a very harmful greenhouse gas. So by taking it out of the system, it can be composted, etc. So there's less greenhouse gases overall. So if there's no other comments, and I don't think there is, I'd put that to the vote. All those in favour of that motion, please indicate by clicking the little dots. Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you. Now move on to 7.2, Heritage Standards, State Heritage Areas. Now we've got someone to talk to this.
Through the chair, if you're happy for David Petrozola to say a few words in this regards. Thank you, Paul.
Hello all.
David, yep.
Through the chair. So this report is highlighting the fact that Heritage SA are currently working on updating their 17 existing heritage guidelines. So they've actually started already, and they've completed one of the documents for Colonel Light Gardens. Now, there are another 16 to go, and they're going to be updated in response to the planning reforms. Now, unfortunately, Heritage SA haven't provided any order in terms of what they consider to be a priority. And through this report, we were hoping that we'll send a letter to Heritage SA and just let them know that we would, or the town of Gawler would like to see Churchill be made a priority in that regard.
Okay, any questions for David? Mayor, have you got any questions?
I was hoping to move the motion, actually.
Okay, well, I just like to get the questions out so people are got all their questions done before I start thinking about the motion. Kelvin, have you got a question or?
I'm happy to second the motion.
Okay, well, I've got a question for David.
No problem, Paul.
Yep. Are the standards really only looking at architectural features in an area, or are they looking at social heritage?
So largely they look at the architectural merits, Paul, Councillor Kosh. But saying that, we will have the opportunity, I believe, to make comment on the document when it is updated, ultimately. So that may be something that we can bring up, but it's largely in respect to the architectural form of the area.
Okay, right, that's fine. Any other questions? Okay, go back to you, Mayor. You're happy to move the motion?
Yes, thank you,
You'd like
Chair.
to speak to the motion?
Yes, please. Yeah, thanks for staff for putting this up. I think this is a good move, and I mean, Colonel Light Gardens is a beautiful example of a garden city, and it's right and proper that they focus on those sorts of areas, but it's also right and proper that they look at 19th century planning, which is what we've got in Churchill. So I think it's a stunning example of planning, and we're very lucky to still have it in many parts its original form. So I think this is a really good move. I think it is worth asking the question as to whether we can get Gawler and Churchill seen as a priority. So let's see where it goes. But yeah, I thoroughly support this and hope members support this as well.
Okay, thank you. Kelvin, do you want to?
Yeah, I will. I fully support what the Mayor has just said. I just wanted to comment that the report does confirm that CAP acted responsibly and highlighted the problems with the new planning system when assessing that tennis court application. Refer to the motions on page 21 of this report, the two motions to council. I've said all along that the CAP is not to blame for the shortfall of heritage protection and shouldn't be strict to this role in heritage application assessment by creating an additional CAP. But in terms of this particular recommendation, I fully support it.
Okay, thank you. Nathan, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, just to quickly say that I think it's like everything. If we can apply pressure where we can and try to get a little bit ahead of the game, and I think this letter is sort of doing that, and it is on the back end of a decision that went right or wrong either way. We're still trying to unpack that, but Churchill has such a significant essence in the town. I think we all agreed with that, and I think having a mayor, having a local government, having a council represent us in that platform is the way forward. I think we do need to jump up and down and say, look, if you want to change the rules, this is what we need you to look at. It's not to say other councils aren't doing the same thing, but if other councils are and we're not, it's not the best look. So given what's around this, I think this is a good move forward, and I look forward to seeing the response. Yeah, fully support the motion.
Okay. Anybody else would like to speak to this motion? Okay. Mayor, do you want to wind up the... No? Okay. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please indicate by hitting your little screen, little bits. And yep. Just waiting on Di.
That little green thing, Di.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a look. 7.3, installation of traffic devices, Sunnydale Avenue, Gawler East. Any questions here for, I suppose, for Sam to start with? Diane, have you got a question or?
Just need to unmute it.
You're on mute, Di.
You're on mute, Di. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to move the motion and then speak to it if that's possible.
Okay, righto. Okay, no one has got any other questions? Yep, go for it.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Sam and his department for this. It's taken 2 years almost to get to this stage. But, you know, we were working with another council and also the government, because Sunnydale, the area of Sunnydale Avenue we're talking about is owned by both Gawler and Barossa, plus it comes off a government road. So I realise it hasn't been easy to do this, but the people that I've spoken to up in that area are very happy for this to go ahead. And the added bonus is that the trucks are going to disappear, which off of Sunnydale, well, hopefully off of Sunnydale Avenue, which is, you know, they come down from Carlton Road down to Lindock Road, and by the time they get halfway down, they're really going quite fast. And because they're so heavy, it is really dangerous, very, very dangerous. So it just makes sense for that to happen as well. And I know there's a lot of happy people up there.
Good. Kelvin, did you want to?
Just want a question, if I can.
Yep.
The only question I've got is to Sam, I guess. Is there any negative impacts on redirecting the heavy vehicles onto Cheek Avenue, which in itself is a very busy street in terms of the school, the childcare, the kindy, the shops? Has that been taken into account?
Through you, Chair. So, from a traffic perspective, we have certainly looked at that, Councillor Goldstein, with our traffic engineers. Cheek Avenue is really the collector road that will link the Lindock Road or Barossa Valley Highway through to Carlton Road and the Link Road and beyond. It is a much safer route at present, and it will be further embellished once it's actually made into a collector road as one of the interventions that's funded as part of the broader Gawler East traffic interventions that are coming through separate rates, So the trigger from that is a little while away, but certainly it does present for a much safer option for those heavier vehicles. Notwithstanding the fact that trucks can still go down Sunnydale Avenue if they have a need to access an area within there, whether it's dropping a pool off or whatever, that has to actually go down Sunnydale Avenue.
Does anybody like any other questions, or is someone like to second this motion? Brian, are you on mute?
You're not hearing me. Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay. Do you want to speak to the motion?
Yeah. Well, it probably follows on from what Kelvin was saying, and that is, I stopped there the other day and spoke to the people who are working on the bicycle trail or whatever they're doing up the railway line there. I'm sure they're there for the next 12 months. But they said that the way vehicles, as Councillor, as Diane has said, the way they cut the corners, he said, they're just waiting for somebody to hit. So whether or not, Sam, you've looked at that or whatever, but certainly I welcome this and second it and hope people support it, because it is a busy road now. People don't want to come on into Gawler or go around the 100-mile-an-hour expressway. And so basically that corner is a dangerous corner, and this has been said by 2 or 3 people. So I wonder if Sam have any comments there?
Sam, any comments, any reply? Or?
Yeah, certainly. So the corner you're referring to is obviously the bend as you approach the bottom end of Sunnydale Avenue. And we've done some swept path analysis there. It's clear that the larger trucks cannot make the turn without a major reconstruction widening of that intersection, which the council were loath to undertake. And in the absence of that, the most logical position was to relocate the trucks onto Cheek Avenue, which is actually the preferential route and a much safer route. So it does allow for a conventional garbage truck to make the bend in what's being proposed. It's just the trucks beyond that size that won't be allowed to go down the road.
All right, thank you, mate.
Now, I've got some questions, Sam. The first one is, will this impact on the cycleway that's going to join up down there?
Yep, thank you for the question, Councillor Koch. It has been considered in that project's design, having regard for the work that Barossa Council are doing. This little traffic update that's being proposed and the works that we're doing. So they're all being overlaid and planned together. The crossing of the cycleway is just outside the pavement bar treatment by the intersection of Lindop Road. So it's all been integrated and it's in the once the council supports this, we'll go through the final check and balance and getting the Department of Infrastructure and Transport to sign it off.
Okay, and the other question is Barossa on board with this, in particular the signage at Carlton and Sunnydale Avenue, because that's their road?
Yeah, through you, Councillor Koch, the conversations that we've had with officers of Barossa have supported the proposal as presented tonight. So there's, from their perspective, there's certainly, and their local community has been supportive of removing the heavy trucks off this route for some time.
Excellent. Okay, any other questions for Sam or anybody else? So we've got Di has moved it and Brian, you've seconded it.
Yep.
There's no other questions. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please signal, and all those against, please also indicate. Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.4. Oh, 8.1.
Yep.
Is that what we're up to? Yes.
So, Chair, I need to declare a perceived conflict.
Of 8.1.
8.1.
Yes.
Review of the 30-year plan for Greater Adelaide.
Yes. And what will you do?
I'm declaring a perceived conflict as a Garrock member.
Yep.
And I'll be handling that conflict by staying in the room and participating in the debate, but also making decisions in the best interests of Gawler.
Okay, and you'll be somehow filling out the paperwork?
Well, I haven't got any paperwork.
Okay, so...
Yeah, that's...
Happy to so move that.
Yeah, I just want to get back to the paperwork. So you've made that public declaration, so the paperwork will follow up later, I suppose?
Yes.
Yep, that's okay. Right. Okay, okay, Brian, you want to go straight into moving it, do you?
Yep, happy to move it.
Okay, do you want to speak to it?
No, it's pretty straightforward, and I share with Mayor Karen's views on that, and I know that she is fully supportive of it, so I hope that other elected members are. Thank you.
Would someone else like to second that? Nathan, do you want to second it?
Just had a question,
Okay,
Chair.
so, yeah, okay. Question, yep.
Yeah, am I right to ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Just for the noob in politics, I was just wondering, this is noted throughout the report a couple of times that, change of government will probably spark a further review, et cetera, et cetera. So I was just wondering on timing. I mean, we're at the February IES, it's going to come up to the council meeting, just noting the fact that we're noting what's going on and endorsing what Garrock are doing. And I don't see anything wrong with the plan itself. But I'm just wondering, could have this not waited until after the election? Because I'm assuming it will come back at some point in time with the new government's or same government, whatever, its position on it. So is anyone able just to answer that question? Why tonight, I guess, is my main question.
Yeah. David? Or Karen, would you like to?
Yeah, Karen probably is the best person.
So my understanding is this will go back to Garrock. It will then go to the board, and then hopefully it'll go up for a meeting. There's 2 meetings for LGA twice a year, one in April, one in October. That's the AGM in October. And then there's an ordinary meeting in April. Now, my understanding is that this feedback, so we've been asked for feedback from the Department of Transport, the Department of Infrastructure and Transport, sorry. And so this is giving that feedback for their overall 30-year review. I don't think a change in government will change. The department is driving the 30-year review of planning across the state. And this is, I guess, specific for Greater Adelaide. It's been 10 years since they've done the first 30-year review. So the department is driving it, Nathan. and I don't think that will change. I mean, it might be, who knows what happens when a new government comes in, but the department is very keen to see where opportunities for growth are across both regional and Greater Adelaide, and looking at, so it's the department that's driving this, not us.
Oh, yeah, no, that does answer the question. And yeah, I understand that. It sounds like it'd be good to baseline and make sure that we have this review complete, not us, sorry, I'm talking about the LGA. And then if anything happens with government, at least we've got the baseline to go back to, which is, yeah, no, that did answer my question. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you.
We lost Paul as he fell off the perch or something. Where are you, Paul?
Where's Paul gone?
I don't know. He fell off the perch.
Who's the deputy chair?
Who's the deputy chair? That would be David Hughes. That's David Hughes.
Oh, David, good on you.
We keep running the meeting. I don't know where Paul's gone.
So just an update, Councillor Koch's computer dropped out and he's just in the process of logging back in.
Bloody computers.
Can I speak to this while we're waiting?
Yeah. It's up to the chair, David. You're the chair at the moment.
Yeah, happy for you to speak to it now, Di.
Okay.
Good on you, Dave.
I'm pretty sure that when this 30-year plan first came in, it was a different government to the current one anyway. When the government changed, there was a couple of tweaks, but the majority of the plan stayed the same. So maybe if there's a change of government again, the same thing might happen. There might be a couple of tweaks to it, but the majority of the 30-year plan will stay as it is.
Well said.
You might as well keep going, David, because I don't know how long Paul will be.
I can't see on the screen, but is there a seconder?
I don't think so.
No, we need a seconder. You can.
I'm sharing at the moment, so someone
I'm
else.
happy to second it.
Okay. I'll put Di as the seconder.
Yeah.
Speak to the motion.
I've already spoken. No, that's fine. I'm fine, thanks.
Anyone else? I'll ask everyone to vote for the motion then. Put the motion. That's carried. That's carried unanimously by my looking at the screens.
Yep, you're right on.
Okay. We'll move on to the next item, 8.2. The joint planning arrangements, the business case. Any questions or someone like to move them?
All right, David, can I just jump in there for a moment? Oh, here we
Sure.
go. I'm just wanting to make sure that the minute secretary is with us. So, Anne, you've got the mover and seconder for the 8.1. So that's Brian Samble and
Di Fraser.
Nathan Shanks as the seconder, and that was carried unanimously.
Diane was the seconder.
Oh, Di Fraser, right.
Di Fraser, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Shut up. Shut up. Hey.
Brian, do you want to mute yourself?
8.2.
Not me barking, it's a bloody dog. Get outside. Come on.
8.2, any questions? Move that motion, please.
I'm happy to move it, David.
Thanks, Kelvin. Would you like to speak to it at all?
Well, just briefly, I mean, it's obviously not going to go anywhere unless all the councils can get on board. So I think it's gone as far as it'll go, and yeah, happy to move the recommendation.
And I've got Councillor Nathan Shanks. Nathan, would you like to speak to the motion?
I just had a question. I read this report a couple of times, and I was just wondering if Henry or David or someone could just clarify a few things for me. So this has been going on for a while, and is this now at the end of, look, we've tried to get along with our neighbours to get a regional approach, but we couldn't get it across the line, so therefore it's run its course? Am I reading that all correctly? Is anything stopping, that's question one, is anything stopping Adelaide Plains Light Council and Barossa Council from doing their own regional approach, or is that not possible? I'm just wanting a bit of clarity. There's always a deal to be done in my industry. It doesn't just roll over. So I'm just trying to get my head around that.
Yeah, through the chair, if I could. Yeah, it has been certainly a long series of conversations happening in the region, and there was some initial enthusiasm to pursue the concept, but over the course of time, most of the councils have said they're not interested. That's not to say that any other combination or two or three or any number of councils can't pursue it, but there hasn't been the will to progress it, and we thought it was timely to report that to the council and committee. And yes, at this stage, there's no intent to pursue this initiative.
Got Karen, Mayor Redmond's hand up. Would you like to second or?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Nathan. I think just saying the matter's concluded sort of just closes the door to everything, and I just wonder whether there's better wording that could have been put into that motion rather than just say let's shut the door and.
Or keep it.
I just wonder whether there's better wording that keeps our options open, whereas at the moment the door's firmly shut.
You could have will not be pursued at this time, or something to that effect, which leaves it open.
Better.
The second dot point, point 2, instead of saying on this matter has concluded, further progress will not be pursued.
I wonder if there's better wording that in a separate dot point that maybe captures Nathan's points, which I think are really good ones, that this does not stop a future conversation from being had on this matter, or something like that, that just rather than saying we won't progress it at this time, you could revise that point too, Kelvin, and have a third point. This doesn't stop council from having future conversations on this matter. Something like that, that then gives an intent of keeping the door open in the future.
Yeah, it
doesn't. That's just a suggestion.
Doesn't prevent council from revisiting the matter at a later or something.
Yeah. Do you have some words along those lines, Kelvin, for dot point 3?
Yeah. This doesn't prevent council from revisiting the matter at a future date.
Yeah. I mean, this has been on the cards for a long time. Regional panels. It's something that's been discussed for probably over 10 years, as far as, and it was one of the reasons for the changes to the system, or one of the parts of the changes. So it's something that's being investigated for a while. Shanks has got his hand up.
The only point I was going to make is what's point 2 actually doing. You know, if we just note the arrangement and the report, why do we even need a 2? I'm more than happy to note the report and everything, but what's 2 actually doing? Point 2.
It's I think too, saying that we actually have tried and there have been these discussions, because I think sometimes the state government thinks that councils don't actually want some of these things to work. So I think it's important that we do demonstrate that we have been working with our neighbours and talking about this, because
that's outlined in the report though, which is
but-
well written, and it shows everything, a bit of a history, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just spitballing there, but yeah.
We've got a mover. Do we have a seconder? Mayor Redmond, you'd like to second it?
Yes, if I can. I'm happy with that wording. I appreciate some of the comments. I think it is important. Often governments only look at minutes; they don't tend to read reports. So I think that it is good to have some clarity around. There has been discussion. We couldn't reach agreement. However, if something changes in the future, we'd like to further these conversations. So I think it has been a long, drawn-out process. I think it is a bit disappointing. I think it would have been really good to have, regional planning boards that we have a role in and we have a certain level of control in. This road gives us even less control. And I think that's troubling. If we value community representation and communities having a say, this is not the best way forward. But it is what it is. And I guess, there's no point in flogging a dead horse, as they say. Thank you.
So, Councillor Shanks, you've got your hand up. You'd like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I will speak to the motion, but I think Di's been trying to speak first.
Okay. Sorry, Di, I've just seen your hand up.
I keep losing my hand. It won't stay up there.
Sorry.
I would just like to say that point 2 could just be stopped and the agreement could not be reached, because we've got a point 3 now that says that we're going to go on, and point 2 says that we're not going to pursue it any further. So I think if point 2 was just, agreement could not be reached, full stop.
Yeah, that you're right. We were going to get rid of the matter was concluded. That was going to be taken out.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Is the mover happy with that? Yep.
I think it should stay in there. We could add a couple of words, just saying that is concluded at this time, because it does say that we're not going to continue with it at this time. So I think if we leave it as it is, but has concluded, and further progress on the matter has concluded at this time. Just add the words at this time.
So the mover wants to
pick it up down the track if we want to.
And is the seconder happy with that?
Well, no. I'd rather take the concluded out, that progress and further progress could not be reached. I think that's agreement could not be reached, full stop. Further progress has concluded at this time. I think leave a full stop after reached. That's my view. I think you're just repeating yourself. Agreement could not be reached, full stop.
It's the mover's motion, so I sort of get his agreement. Otherwise,
I've said what I think. So if no one is prepared to second it, someone else can move something else.
So I've got the mover as Councillor Goldstone with the wording as it is. Would someone else like to second that? Councillor Kosh, I think, is coming back into the meeting. So I've got Councillor Shanks's hand up. Councillor Shanks, would you like to speak?
To be honest, I want to speak in the debate. I'm not moving or seconding anything at the time. Yep. So we'll get that sorted, and then I'll speak.
I'm going to withdraw my seconding for the.
That's my understanding. Is Councillor Kosh in the meeting?
I don't know. I'll second the motion.
You'll second it as is.
As Councillor Goldstein has moved it.
Okay.
And can I just say, this word planning, it's such a dirty word, and as Mayor Redmond stated in the paper the other day, the way the whole planning issue in the state has been handled, I would say that these other councils that may have considered it if we'd had more clearer words from the state government. I think all of this is back to the state government because no one seems to be stepping over the line or even up to the line at this point. So I agree with Councillor Goldstone's motion and ask you to support it.
I've got Councillor Shanks's hand up. You'd like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, look, I'll probably support this just because I think we're splitting hairs a little bit on wording, but I think the point has merit here. I personally am a little bit disappointed that we couldn't come to some sort of collaborative approach here with our neighbouring towns, neighbouring councils, who we consider our family, our friends, our sporting clubs, et cetera, and the same argument that I hear thrown around in boundary reform is one of those things I can actually support. Not having our own regional approach seems like a missed opportunity to me. I wasn't happy with closing the door, and I'm glad that we're not closing that door, give or take some words here, but I think the merit here still has that same outcome. And I guess it's just that voice of disappointment because I do note that the previous term of elected members saw the merit of this and decided to pursue it. And look, if I was on council then, I would have supported it the same I am now. To come to this sort of end, I have a lot of questions. And look, some of those questions might be answered by going to my counterparts in neighbouring councils, by reading this report and checking in on some things. You know, I'm not happy the door's closed. I'm glad that maybe we will keep the door a little bit more open, and that collaborative approach between our region, I think, is lacking a little bit, and it's not kicking us any goals on some of the bigger picture thinking, is my personal opinion. So look, I'm happy to support the way this sits, and I'm not undoing all the good regional approach initiatives that are out there. It's just this one seems like a missed opportunity to me. And like I said, there's always a deal to be done if you want to do it. So that's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Councillor Shanks. That's quite a good roundup. I think I'll put this motion to the vote unless anyone else wants to speak. So if you could please use your voting tokens. So looks like the motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to 8.3, which is the workshop. So we need to move out of, do we have a vote to move out of formal meeting procedure?
It's your prerogative, 2/3. Yeah.
2/3. So either we've got a hand. Yeah, I'm happy. Yep, Councillor Shanks, go.
Sorry, just a question here. Look, I know that we've had some COVID responses, and you know, this whole setup is a little bit clunky. I mean, it all works because we're sort of used to it, but a workshop environment, I feel, is not on a Zoom camera. In my personal opinion, we don't have the option to be able to call over to the chair. You know, we're lucky that we have Jack Dazanos here and Tim Kelly drops in and out. But the reality here is this wasn't the workshop environment that I called for when we turned around and said, you know what, let's unpack this a little and get more comfortable about this important document. Is there any reason why we can't turn around and say, look, I know we want to go out for public consultation January, February, given what's going on, is there scope to turn around and say, well, let's reschedule this for when we're back in the chamber and doing workshops properly? You know, that's sort of my question there.
I think it's a very good question, and I think it's I suppose I put it in the hands of the other councillors. I think Councillor Kosh is back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My computer glitched, and we're running around trying to get it to go again. So sorry about that. I missed those 2 items. So So we're looking for 2/3 majority to go into a workshop.
Well, I think, Nathan, do you want to say your bit again, because to the chair?
Yeah, so sorry, I'll try not to repeat myself, but Paul, I just put forward, I said, we moved this motion and we actually got it unanimously carried to be able to have a workshop. This to me is in a workshop environment. And I know that Kath wanted to be involved if we had any throwaway questions for her, you know, instead of the raise hand green thing. You know, I know that it's a council member staff workshop, but Henry did point out that if, you know, the chair saw it right, and we might be able to turn around and ask the chair of the working group that has put in, as you know, 2 years worth of her time into this plan. Is there any harm in delaying this to a proper workshop atmosphere instead of a Zoom meeting in the middle of an IES meeting?
Okay.
That was my...
Yep, that's fine. Henry, just as a, I think it's to do with timing. We're going to be in Zoom until the end of the month. What do you think will happen after that? I mean, you know, we've got to get to a point where, are we going to get to a point where we will be able to meet together face to face, or?
How long's a piece of string?
Yeah, I know. It's just that, I mean, this could just delay and delay. I mean, I understand, Nathan, where you come from, and I actually prefer face to face than what we're potentially going to do tonight, but we need to just be mindful of whether it gets drawn out or not.
Sorry, does this delay the actual action plan? Because this, I don't think this has any impact. We're not sending this through for approval or anything, are we? So it will still go through without us into public consultation?
No, the motion was that we'd have a workshop before it went to public consultation. So we have to have the workshop, and then we discuss it, etc., and then it goes to community consultation. So we have the workshop now.
I'm happy to proceed with a workshop. I know it's a bit clunky, but I think that we can do it as long as we all, you know, feel comfortable sharing our views.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, look, like I said, it was only the opinion, and I know that the chair of the working group is, you know, would love to be able to be here for any comments or questions that you may have of her. We have Jack here, which is a very welcome addition, but, you know, we're short Tim Kelly, who is the other staff member, and this is a staff council member workshop.
I can see Tim.
We have one staff member. Tim, sorry. There's Tim.
Tim's here. Tim's here.
Tim and Jack are here.
Yeah. My question was, what is the harm with rolling the dice and seeing if we can wait until we are in face to face? And if we can't be in face to face for months to come, well, then yes, you turn around and go, let's pull the trigger as is. But yeah, we called for a council member workshop. It's now a workshop in between an IES committee meeting.
Yep. Okay.
Is there harm in waiting?
Right.
That was
Ryan, do you have a comment?
Yes. Is there any way we can postpone it till the 7th of March? Because then we don't have anything on then. And if we can't do it, if we still have to go Zoom, or we have to do it Zoom, but at least we could try to do it face to face.
Yeah. And that would be bang on what I'm saying. Unless we've got something to lose. And that, again, is my question to Henry.
Yeah, the budget specifically is what I'm worried about, whether we push it past the budget for this year.
Okay. Now, Kelvin, you had raised a question.
Yeah. Look, I agree with Nathan. Unless there's a really good reason why we can't defer it, I think we should. You know, the Zoom atmosphere is not a good atmosphere for workshops.
Okay.
Unless there's a really good reason why, I'd agree. And as Diane said, maybe, you know, the first week in March or whenever suits everyone.
Yep. Okay. So, we need 2/3. So that's starting to.
Well, can I move a deferral motion then?
Well, I mean, from what I can go, but if we don't get 2/3, it just doesn't go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. So we need. There's 9 of us, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of us. So what's 2/3 of 8?
Isn't the 7th of March a public holiday?
I said the 7th.
Yeah, the 7th of March is a public holiday.
Isn't it?
Oh, no. Or am I wrong?
It's a Labor Day for some other
No,
state.
it's
Labor
the
Day in
14th.
Western Australia. It says.
Oh.
The 14th is a public holiday.
Okay. I'll stop
Right.
looking at the diary.
Okay, let's try. Is there any other comments about this? Then I'll put it to the vote. And if we don't get 2/3, then we just don't proceed and we have to decide on another date.
But the 2/3 is not. We still have to move the motion separately because the motion is just that we note the workshop. So even if there's not even if it doesn't go into open debate, it would still count as a workshop, right? So we still have to just deal with the item.
We're not in a workshop yet.
No, we have to decide whether we're going to a workshop. We haven't decided yet.
So that's what I'm saying. I think I'm going to attempt to defer item 8.3. I think we're up to.
Well, from what I can gather, we just need to vote on it. And if
Through the chair. if I
Anyhow,
could.
yep.
So are we voting on going to a workshop tonight?
yes,
that what you
yes,
wanna-
because I think that's the procedure. We have to, and if we don't get 2/3, so that must be 6 people. Is that right? What's 2/3 of 8?
I think it would clear it to the public if we just deferred it until a certain date in
Yeah,
March.
yeah. Oh no, we just need to go through the process. So what's 2/3 of 8? Somebody, if they're maths.
Councillor Koch, it's 62.5% is 5 out of 8. I think you're going to have to go for 6.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 6. So we need. So what I'd like to do is use your little indicators to vote whether you want to go into workshop. And if we don't get 6, we don't, and that's the end of the story.
So what are we voting for?
Whether we go into a workshop or not.
Okay.
Okay. So we definitely haven't got 2/3, so we won't be moving to a workshop. Yep, that's it. We'll have to convene a workshop at another time.
And to be honest, I'm happy to have a workshop standalone because that was the idea.
Yeah, we just thought it might be because there wasn't a lot on this agenda that we could fit it in tonight. But if that's not the will of the meeting, that's fine. That's the go for it. Yep.
And I sort of understand the merit in that. I think it's just because we're in Zoom.
Yeah.
Might have the same atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was quite happy to do it when it wasn't Zoom, but when it's Zoom, it just doesn't happen as it should, really, especially workshop. Okay, so we'll just I don't think we do anything there now. We just don't. That's it, I think. With that item, I suppose. Is that right?
Through the chair, I think if we do have the motion as suggested by Councillor Shanks, it'll just clean up the minutes.
Yeah,
by
okay.
having
Yeah,
that
do
be
that. Yep.
Deferred for a future workshop.
Yep, do that. Yep. Do we need to record that we had the vote and we didn't get 2/3?
Yep, second that.
Yeah,
Yes.
do that, and then just so it's recorded.
So we'll show
And
the
then
minutes to that
You
effect.
could just put up a motion for
Second
deferral, or a motion to have a face-to-face. Preferred. I don't know. Well, what sort of motion do you want?
Yep, second that.
Well,
Just be
get some words
deferred.
together.
Just be deferred, because if we can't do face-to-face, it will have to be Zoom.
Okay, just that. Okay. So we'll record that we had the vote and the vote wasn't 2/3. And then if Nathan, if you just want to move a motion that's deferred, that would tidy that up.
Yeah, the Climate Emergency Action Plan workshop be deferred to a future workshop
Time. Yep. The climate emergency workshop.
I think
deferred to-
I think that's all you need because staff can try to get in the best date or time that allows us to be open for Zoom. If worst case scenario, we have to have another crack at this.
Yep. Okay.
So currently it's saying to a future meeting, so it needs to be to a future workshop.
Yeah, future workshop. Yeah. So I'm happy to move that way for reasons mentioned previously.
Yep. Now, okay. Do we need to record that we voted and it didn't get up or not?
Through the chair, we'll update the minutes accordingly.
Okay, yeah, I'd like the minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, would someone like to second Nathan's? Brian, you happy to second that?
You're right there.
Okay. Any other discussion? Obviously, yep. All those in favour, please signal with your little ticks and crosses. Yep. Okay. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving right along. Items listed for discussion. Nothing? Items listed for discussion at future meetings. Anything? Okay. Questions without notice. Any questions without notice? Diane, you got a question? Yep.
Yes, I have to Sam. The hand dryers in the new toilets, do we have a time when they might be in?
Through you, Chair. I'll take that on notice, Councillor Fraser, and provide an update to all members. I know that quotes have been sought and with a supplier. Just don't know the time frame for installation. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Cody, you've got a question?
Yeah, so a couple questions. The first one's just about those toilets. What's the situation with soap there? Because I went in at one point and there was no soap. I'm just wondering if that's something that's going to get installed at some point.
Davies, I'll have to take that on notice. It was a direction that we were putting in soap dispensers, vandal-proof soap dispensers in each of the toilets, or where there was a sink anyway. I'll respond back, consolidate that with Councillor Fraser's response.
Okay.
And you got another question, Cody?
Yeah, and my other question is about the status of the bins in our town of Gawler, bins becoming recycling bins. I'm just wondering if we had any update on that.
Yeah, through you, Councillor Koch. Staff haven't been able to turn their attention to that. That motion was, I think, recently presented, maybe December IES from memory. Yeah, it's probably going to be a little while before we can finalise our position in that regard, Councillor Davies, but it's certainly on our operational register.
Okay, because I didn't see it in the business arising section, I think. So I'm just wondering if it's floating in the ether somewhere or where exactly it's been logged.
Was that at a council meeting or an IES meeting?
I thought it was at a budget meeting.
Was it a budget meeting? Maybe. Anyway, okay, yeah, I'm sure Stan will follow up on that. Yep. Hope so. Yep. Nathan, you got a question?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. There was an item that I flagged a while ago for the 12th Street intersection where it meets 15th Street. And there was a concern about give way signs, stop signs, people not stopping, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if you remember the email. I think it might have been 6 months ago or something. Last I heard, staff were looking into it, and worst case scenario, we might not have, it wouldn't be a big fix to chuck in a give way sign. I was just wondering on a bit of is that ringing any bells at all? Or just wondering if you got a bit of an update on that one for me.
Councillor Shanks, I'd have to follow that up with staff as to where that's at with we've got traffic operational register and a number of different elements ongoing at the moment, but I'll respond to members in that regard.
All right, no worries. One more if I could. The Edward Street footpath motion that I moved, I put in a time frame of 18 months, just so I could, just for ease of being able to go across two budgets. Just for a little bit of clarity around that, am I able to get a bit of a range, obviously take that on notice, but a range of when I can let those ratepayers know we're expecting that motion to come to fruition?
Maybe a budget bid.
No, it's a part of
council decision.
Yeah, it was a council decision on a footpath that was going to be rectified. It's just moving it up on the list.
So through the chair, I think the outcome was we'd present a report back to the IES to further consider that, from my recollection. So I'll have to get back to you, Councillor Shanks, with respect to where the matter's at when we're supposed to present that. I know there was further design development that was required, because there have to be a number of trees that would potentially have to be removed. But we just need to work through that, what was best in that regard. But anyway, I'll get back to members in that regard.
Thank you. Cheers.
Any other questions? No? David looks like he's, oh, you're back again. Motions without notice. Nathan, you've got a motion without notice?
No, sorry, that hand's still up. Sorry.
Okay. So, all right. Any motions without notice? Okay, well, that's about it. I just want to thank David for chairing the meeting when my link dropped out. Sorry about that. Yeah, it just dropped out all of a sudden. So thank you, David. Appreciate that. And from there, that's it. I'll close the meeting, and the next meeting will be on the 12th of April, 2022 at 7 p.m. Okay, thank you everybody for attending. Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yep, I can go home now and see Margaret. Yes.
Oh, I love pressing buttons.
Yeah, me too. I don't know how to. Now I can't drop out because I'm doing something. Yeah.
See you around.
See ya. You still there, Brian? Trying to get out of here.
Trying to get out of the place.
Me too. Stop.